As Ernest Hemingway noted, the world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are stronger in the broken places. But my question is, why isn't everyone? To me, it comes down to the strategies that you use. There really isn't anything objectively good or bad. There isn't anything that happens to you that can't be overcome. There isn't anything that could happen to you, anything that when you turn inward, you can't find a reason to overcome. You can't find a way to put those pieces back together, and that becomes your job. It becomes literally up to you whether you're going to sit and wallow and woe is me, because what happened, happened, and there's no way to take it back. But how you respond, what you bring to that table, whether you meet fire with fire, whether you meet that adversity with falling apart, becoming weaker in the areas that broke, or you bind them and mend them, and it becomes like a weld that literally makes you stronger, is a choice. And it's a choice only you get to make. But as Stephen Hawking said, when you complain, nobody wants to help you. There are many things in your life that you have every reason to complain about. You have every reason to be upset by the things that have happened to you. The most sinister thing about excuses is they're valid. There's a million reasons why you should be able to give up. There's a million reasons why you shouldn't need to try. That thing that broke you, you should be allowed to just sit on the ground. And here's the thing, that's your right. You have every reason to do it. And maybe people won't even think less of you. But here's the truth. You either become weaker or stronger in the places that broke, and that's a choice of how you react moving forward. The great news is, the best thing that you could do to become stronger is love yourself. And as Kamal Ravikant said, loving yourself is a practice. People think that it's something that's going to feel right, that it's going to feel natural, that you're just going to turn inward and there it is, this spark of love and joy for yourself, inside yourself. But the truth is, that's just not the human experience. That's not the way that it works. There's going to be a voice inside your head and it's going to blame you. It's going to say that it's your fault. And no matter how many times people on the outside tell you that that is not true, that this thing happened to you, that it isn't you, it doesn't define you, there will be a voice that's going to tell you that it does. And that's where you have to fall back on process. That's where you have to realize that you literally have to practice loving yourself, and that it's okay, that no matter what happened, there is absolutely nothing that invalidates that you're worthy of your own love. But you've got to practice it. You've got to be willing to do it. You've got to be willing to put in the reps. You've got to know that it's not going to feel right, but you've got to know on the other side of that is a vision of your life where you actually do love yourself, because you took the time to say it. You took the time to practice it. You took the time to sit there and feel stupid and say that you love yourself. And sometimes just putting in the work is what you need to do to get strong. So put in the work.
It's hard to imagine, but you have to learn how to fail. Because I'm going to explain this to you. I had big dreams. A lot of us have big dreams, big goals. And when you have goals that are maybe outside your reach, you have to know that getting to that goal, you're gonna have a lot of bad days, a lot of setbacks. So like when I was losing 106 pounds in 3 months, the first 2 months or first 2 weeks, it's like I was gaining weight. You know, I would lose a pound, gain 2. So I was just failing. I kept failing and kept failing and kept failing. So I had to teach myself how to fail right. And what that means is when I fail, I can't spend much time in that fail zone. I have to be able to get up and get after the next day just as fast, because my goals were to be a Navy SEAL. I don't have time to stay here and feel bad for myself for weeks and months and years, because I'll lose that time. So the big thing is know that if you have big goals and big dreams, along the way, failure is going to happen. So how fast do you get up from that? And you got to teach yourself that. But the biggest key to success in anything you do is you got to have an unlimited supply of you. This drive and passion, and it may come from nothing. Like for me, there was no passion, no drive, no nothing. but I had this fire that I'm going to be somebody. And it has to be there, because on all those bad days and all those days you don't want to do shit, you have to be your own motivator, your own coach, your own trainer, your own everything. So to do that, you have to come into work, and work is whatever your work may be, ready to go. And what that means is you may have failed miserably yesterday, but you come to work like, people like, man, you just lost everything. How the hell are you this fucking damn motivated? Because this is what it takes.
It's easy to embrace hopelessness when things seem insurmountable. And yet, it's actually just a matter of time until all of the elements come together for things to be all right. I mean, I believe that, most difficult situations will resolve themselves if you are persistent and if you don't give up entirely. And that's what I never did. I never gave up.
Do you still get urges to do drugs?
I have not even an inkling of a desire. It's not that difficult to overcome these seemingly ghastly problems. What's hard is to decide.
Loosely prearranged destiny. And what's incredible is how far afield you can go from it and still find your way back.
This concept of things just sort of falling into place. I'm a big believer in that too. What is that though? Is that you getting out of your own way?
Isn't that 70% of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's 70% maintenance of what can I do to do my part to stay out of the way. And then the other part, I always think of it as like this little super thin, invisible thread. But you can feel the tug, and you just you have to be really gentle. You have to pause when agitated, and you have to go for it when you're like, there's 4 walls in here, which one has the map behind it? You go, it's that one. And you knock down the wall, and it's there.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. Maybe I led you to believe it was easy when it wasn't. Maybe I made you think my highlights started at the free throw line and not in the gym. Maybe I made you think that every shot I took was a game winner. That my game was built on flash and not fire. Maybe it's my fault that you didn't see that failure gave me strength, that my pain was my motivation. Maybe I led you to believe that basketball was a God-given gift and not something I worked for every single day of my life. Maybe I destroyed the game. Or maybe you're just making excuses. I never feel that I'm at my best. I feel I still have room to improve. I still set goals for myself to strive for. I'm never complacent with what I've achieved. Even though it's been very successful for me, I still feel I have a lot to prove, not just as a player, but as a person, as a father, to some extent, as a role model, in all aspects. So I'm never really too complacent with myself or with what I've achieved. When I get to a point where I feel I can improve as a player, I walk away from the game.
No, I've never been afraid. I mean, obviously you're nervous, but afraid means you're not confident in your skills. I have total confidence in my skills, so I'm not afraid.
You had the utmost confidence. Your confidence level was through the roof. Where is it now?
On top of the roof. I don't think my confidence changed. I wouldn't have come back into this situation.
Sports is a tool that teaches, and it teaches you bad things. It can also teach you good things. It's how you perceive those things. I've looked at every experience that I've had, negative and positive, and taken that as a positive. If I wouldn't change anything because I think it would alter some of the other things that I have. So when I look back, I can't say that I've had any bad things happen. Sure, I mean, you don't want bad things to happen, but you deal with bad things. You can't have good or without bad.
Basketball is my love, always have been, and I can't ever envision an ending of something like that. That passion that I have for the game until
I'm dead and gone. Until that's when it's, well, I can wait. I'm not in a rush.
It's never enough. Okay. Never enough as long as you compete. It's always great to win. That's why you compete.
Each time that you win, it takes away a little bit of that hunger, which is a challenge within itself. It's a battle within your mind to find a challenge to go to that same place that you've been 5 times before. And that's hard. When people say, well, the first one was the hardest, no, the last one was the hardest because you're battling with yourself. Because a lot of times I had to battle with myself to keep challenging myself. That to me was why I would say that the biggest battle was myself, because when you get to a certain pinnacle, you got to find some ways to keep going out there for 82 games.
I just think that I have the habits of working hard. I always been taught that to reach a goal that in life that you want, you have to work hard to get to it. And so far, I just, have that in mind.
Determination, what your motives are, what your ambitions were from the beginning. It's been a lot of soul searching in terms of it's easy to sit back and say, well, I have given my best. I'm tired. Somebody else got to do it or whatever. I didn't take that approach. I thought positively and said whatever I could do, every little inch of energy that I have, I'm going to try to provide for this team. I mean, if you give up, then they give up. So I didn't want to give up. No matter how sick I was, or how tired I was, or how, low on energy I was, I felt the obligation, to my team, to the city of Chicago to go out and give that extra effort to achieve it even harder.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
Truth is, you're one decision away from changing your life.
Sometimes you need to get knocked down before you can really figure out what your fight is.
And we're in the same boat now. But you're thinking about what you could have been. I am exactly what I should have been.
We're all born with built-in greatness.
Everything that someone says in life, take it with a grain of salt.
Start to stand up for yourself. Don't let anybody push you around, tell you that you don't deserve something, make you uncomfortable, make you feel less than. You are not less than. Stand up for you.
So no matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. That's the way it works.
When I look in the mirror, I know that I've done everything that I could. Like, I've given everything. I'm the best in the world. I can do this.
Look down over what you conquered.
Cut out all the fucking noise. Get back to the fucking mental lab. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, I run this motherfucker.
I'm going to make things happen.
It's time to get back to work.
It doesn't matter how hard you work, I'm willing to work harder than you.
And I know every motherfucker ain't gonna do what I'm gonna do. That's how you level up.
Don't stop being average when your potential is crying to come outside and be more than that.
No one will outwork me. No one.
It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks.
Of course, talent without work is nothing.
You got to be hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do.
There's no excuse not to be the hardest motherfucking worker in the room.
You have to want it.
Discipline is the single most important thing that you can use when it comes to being successful. If we just worked a little bit harder and just took it a day at a time, our dreams would come true.
Where have you been up to this point? You look at your life, you look at what you produce. Is it giving you what you want? Are you living on purpose? Are you living your dream? Are you acting on your ideas? Are you doing all you can do? Have you gotten comfortable? Are you procrastinating? Are you evading your own greatness? Are you surrounding yourself with people that can nourish you? Are you challenging yourself? Are you experimenting? Are you learning something different? Is your life an adventure or is it boring? Where have you been?
When you're pursuing your greatness, you live from a place of the willingness to live life courageously, to be willing to take chances, to become a risk taker, to make impact, to go beyond believing to knowing, to lean not unto your own understanding, to feel within yourself there's some cause, there's something that's bigger than me, but I'm never alone in facing this.
See, we don't have the courage, and that's what it takes, courage. It takes guts to do that which you know you need to do. If you don't have the courage to act, life many times will move on you and make you act. Life will whoop your butt so bad. You will be so miserable, you will catch so much hell, you say, yes, I will do it. What do you want me to do? Take me. You got some idea, some dream that you might have to go back and brush it off and look at it again and say, I've got to do this. This is my stuff. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is why I showed up. Where are you going with your life? What decisions are you making right now as you look into the future? It's necessary that you get outside of your comfort zone. It's necessary that you develop some new relationships where you can learn from people. It's necessary that you do reading, that you do research. It's necessary, if you're already involved in some business, that you don't be satisfied with where you are. If you want to make it today, it's necessary for you to constantly look at ways of getting better. Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, and it's necessary for you to challenge yourself to go after it and get better and leverage relationships that can help you get to where you want to go. But it's you. The major key to your reaching your dream, your living up to your greatness, your making your contribution is you.
Everybody's great when they're not tired. This is when they tired, that's when the real champions come out. That's when that real dog come out.
It's where I think the real truth comes out, because I think there are a lot of people who are very talented who can make it there. There are very few people who can deal with the pressure and the stress that happens when we're there.
I feel I'm the best ever. It's not bragging or boasting. The proof is in the pudding.
In my mind, I'm always the best.
I am the greatest fighter of all time. And when I hit you with a hard right hand, you will fall.
Gotta win tomorrow, gotta win right now. If you're passionate about what you're doing, keep going, keep believing, reach for the stars.
Everything is always impossible until someone does it. Maybe it has never been done before. That's perfectly fine with me. But I'm gonna do it.
Never say never, because limits, like fears, are often just an illusion.
Hungry dogs run best.
And let the big dogs eat.
If you look at the greats in any walk of life, the greats do things when they don't always want to. And that's the separation.
It means you have to be more disciplined than not disciplined. I wanted to be the best I could be, period.
I was waiting for you to smile at some of the compliments. You didn't.
Smiling doesn't win you gold medals.
I'm too fast, I'm too skillful, and I'm gonna show everybody out there watching this show and the whole world, and the world will bow and admit that I am the greatest of all times when you see what I do to George Foreman.
I believe that whatever I put my mind to, and if I was willing to make sacrifices and I was dedicated, that I could achieve absolutely anything.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Maybe someone's don't like me because maybe I'm too good.
You win some, you lose some, but you live.